To refinance, or should you wait? No one better to ask than the Mortgage Geek who's here. What's up? Sean Cahan is in the house. What's up, brother?
How are you?
All right, so a lot of people asking this question. We got sort of a second opportunity for a lot of people who are like, oh, I wanted to refinance, but the rates went up. Damn it. If I just had another chance, I was going to do something.
Here it is, folks.
Here it is.
Yeah.
So what's going on with rates right now?
I mean, rates came down like really fast. I would say like 60 days ago, roughly. And they're ticking up just a little bit, but all in all, they're in a really good position for refinancing. I mean, they're the lowest that they've been, I would say, since like second quarter of 2018.
Yeah.
I think that's what the stat was, right?
Correct. And so there's always the question of should I wait? Same thing with housing prices.
Correct.
Oh, they came down a little bit. Should I? Well, maybe I'll just wait and they'll keep going down. Same thing people think about mortgage rates sometimes. Mortgage rates went down. Oh, well, I'll wait. Let them come down more. What are sort of the pros and cons to waiting versus executing on the mortgage?
Well,
side?
the waiting is an unknown factor that we're waiting on. So I never want to say, I'm going to wait on something that I don't have control over and I don't know the outcome. So if it makes sense to refinance. Also, what most people forget about in refinancing is the re-amortization of your loan. That is so costly. So I'll even have clients that come to me that have been in their mortgage for 3-4 years. And it's, yes, they might be lowering 0.5%, but when I do all the math in like the first 5, 10, and 15 years, because I'm re-amortizing their loan and they're repaying all the interest in the first 3 years again, all their savings goes out the window. So what we have to be careful of is, if you're waiting, remember, you're getting farther and farther into your amortization schedule that you're going to restart again, unless you're willing to go to like a 25-year AM. So if you're already 3 years in, don't go to a 30-year, go to a 25-year and see if the interest rate really does make a change to your payment and if it's beneficial. That's what we need to be looking at. So it's not just, oh my gosh, how much are we paying today? How much are we paying tomorrow? Because tomorrow, if we're paying at a lower rate, but you're also re-amortizing your loan with a lower loan amount back over 30 years, that's where a lot of the savings comes from.
Yeah.
So a lot of people get tricked because they don't look at the actual numbers that they're saving. They're
adding years on, but taking a lower payment and adding their overall cost.
Yeah, correct.
So that's kind of the opposite of what you want to do.
Absolutely.
I mean, ideally, what you would do is you would take that 27-year AM that you have left and do the 25, cut 2 years off. Now, whatever your mortgage payment is, per month times 24, that's how much money you just saved.
Absolutely.
At minimum.
Absolutely.
You probably pay less interest as well. So it
well,
just
the
depends.
25-year AM is only just like a little bit of a bump better than the 30-year because it's considered to be in the 30-year. Also with the 20-year is packaged a lot with a 30-year. So the 20-year is not also that great of a savings as well. You might only save like an eighth compared to, might not even get a better interest rate for a 25-year.
Gotcha.
But you might save on like basis points.
Okay, yeah,
So
you'll get something there, but you'll
get a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's more about just, there's a little bit of savings. I'm more worried about re-amortizing your loan over 30 years. That's what makes it made nervous.
Yeah, and I can tell you from experience, the years on radio and talking to people who are in mortgage situations, what you don't want to be is you don't want to be 58 years old with a 30-year mortgage that you just refinanced. That's what you don't want. Like the idea of home ownership and owning the home eventually is that you're going to pay that thing off. So have that as part of your mindset. Now, I understand people who are super savvy going, you know what, always give me a 30-year. I'm going to save the money and invest it on my own.
Completely different.
I'll pay it off when I feel like it.
Yeah.
Cool. If you have that kind of discipline, if you have that kind of cake, great. But for most people, the smartest thing you can do is you're just going to make your mortgage payment. Whatever it is, you're going to set that thing up hopefully on auto debit. Remember, that's good for your credit. Make sure you don't miss a payment on accident. My dumbass missed a car payment recently because I just didn't see it. So stupid. So avoid stupid stuff like that. Set up the auto pay. And when it comes to looking at refinancing, it's not just about interest rates. This is what drives the activity. But it's not just about, well, what's the going rate today? It's about how much interest are you going to pay and how can you minimize that?
Well, and then also I want to emphasize and actually talk about the media says no closing costs, no points, this rate. Stop doing that.
You want my phone?
I want your phone.
You can say it.
I know.
Here you go. There's my phone. No, it's
It's
okay.
anchor man, not anchor woman. Now, that's a scientific fact. I think I need to resend out that video.
Yes, absolutely. Let's repost that today. By the way, if you want to see some hilarious videos, go to the Mortgage Geek on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
All right, so as you were saying,
I forgot. What were we talking?
saving, ultimately, the idea is to save on interest that
Oh,
you pay.
yeah, and pay points. So, like, the cool thing about a refinance is that you can roll those points into the actual mortgage. So, when you're talking to a loan officer, hopefully you're giving me a call as well. But just look at the numbers. Don't just say, I don't want any closing costs. Don't say, I just don't want any points. Because there might be a breaking point where by paying, out of pocket or even rolling it into the loan and paying points to drive down your interest rate, it might be actually beneficial for you, especially if you're switching from like a 30-year into a 25-year, or if you do want to re-extend it over 30 years, well then you might want to try to get as low as interest rate as possible, and that prepaid interest up front does go away in a short period of time, like 3 years, 4 years sometimes, and so that's beneficial for you. So don't just say, I don't want an interest rate, or I want, an interest rate with no closing costs, and I don't want it without any points, because that just means you're paying a higher rate. You guys, banks are not, willy-nilly giving away, oh my gosh, no closing costs. It's built into your interest rate.
Yeah.
It comes from somewhere.
Yeah, you're always trading one thing for the other.
Absolutely.
Either you're getting money now to save it later, or the opposite. It's one of the two. So if you pay now, which is the points, you can save it later. If you don't want to pay it now, then you're going to pay more later. That's
And
just
you're going to
how
pay
it
more
works.
for a longer period of time. The banks are willing to give you a discount if you pay out front. That's what they're saying.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
they're able to say, hey, you're going to give us some of our profit today. We're cool with that. We're going to give you a break in the long run.
Correct.
That's what points are. So it's not something to be avoided at all costs. Now, if you think you're going to move, or like you're in your starter home and you're refinancing or whatever, different story. You don't have a long-term outlook. It might make sense
Correct.
at that point to look at it a little bit differently. But I think also right now we have a question I want to get to from John here
Nice.
about refinancing. But another thing I want to talk about is switching programs.
Absolutely.
Because there are a lot of people who are in FHA loans. There are a lot of people who are in conventional loans. They bought 10% down. They have mortgage insurance. In the past 5-6 years, this has happened quite a bit. I mean, a lot of FHA loans. There's a lot of FHA loans out there. So, and FHA loans are great, except they're kind of like a high-cost loan. I mean, the mortgage insurance is super high. The premium's crazy. And, the upfront costs are behind us at this point, so, who cares? But if you take a look at, well, I have a 4% FHA loan. So unless rates are 3.5, I don't even want to talk about refinance. Hold the phone, because
Yeah.
there's something else to look at there.
Correct. The mortgage insurance. FHA is a fantastic loan for lower FICO scores because the mortgage insurance is a fixed, right? It doesn't matter if you have a 560 or an 800, the mortgage insurance is the same on an FHA loan. So that's very positive. Now, 4%. You guys, an FHA loan, you don't get the 4% without paying the mortgage insurance. So I know note rate is what we're taught to actually listen and to look at, but it's not the end-all be-all because you need to say, okay, well, FHA gave me this 4%, but I also have to pay almost 100 basis points, or a 0.85 factor rate on my mortgage insurance to get my 4%. So you need to take those and combine them together to get what's called your effective interest rate. Effective interest rate. So if somebody says, hey, a conventional no mortgage insurance is 4.5, and I have a 4.125% FHA with MI, well, that actual conventional product might be a better one if you got your FHA loan after January 15th of 2015, where the mortgage insurance is with your MI for all with your loan for all 360 months.
Yeah, it's never going away.
It doesn't go away.
Yeah,
Like it used to. It used to say 78% or 5 years, whichever's longer. So
Right.
you could say at least, when I get down to 78, my MI is going away on my FHA. Well, that's switched. If you're putting down less than 10%, your MI doesn't go away, ever.
Yeah, it's not going away. So that's a common misconception now people might be falling into the trap of. And by the way, in that scenario, because people are paying FHA mortgage insurance for like $400 a month, $500 a month. It's big.
Huge.
So when you do an effective interest rate calculation on that example you gave, your effective interest rate is probably in the fives.
I think that when I was doing the equation with a 0.85 factor rate, I think that it was increasing the interest almost 1%.
That's what it would
It's
be
about 1%.
for about a $500,000 or $600,000 loan, which is
Yeah.
typically where these are. It's going to, I think, be exactly that.
I think it came out to be like if you started at like 3.875 or 4%, it went up to like 4.99, or that was the actual effective rate. So a 4.5%. Also, that MI is, you don't get to write it off.
Right. It's just a net loss.
That is just a fee.
It's a net loss, comes out of your net pay. So if you're paying $500 a month out of your net money in mortgage insurance, you have to go make like $750. So that's actually $750 of your earnings each month that has to go towards your MI. So it saves you. In other words, if you can get rid of that, doing refinance and switching programs with no mortgage insurance, that's
Or even
like
with
making,
like a conventional partial mortgage insurance, that's, you know, a 15% or even like a 10% equity MI, it's not very much. So like with a 730 credit score on a conventional 10% down, the mortgage insurance factor rate was only 0.39.
wow. And you can
That's
do lender
less than
paid too.
half. Or you can do lender paid, which is only 1.38. I can pay a 1.38% upfront, which is a 40% discount on my monthly because they're getting it immediately, and then pay it off. So most people will say, no, Sean, you're wrong. I just went to Gensworth, or I just went to Arch, and that single premium for lender paid is not 1.38. Absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. A lender paid single premium is not 1.38%. Why? Well, because I did borrower single paid. If a borrower single pay, you get a discount, and on your itemization, you can have the lender pay that fee directly. And since that the lender's paying just that fee and itemized it that way, now I can give you the discount.
Boom, roasted.
That's like huge, you guys.
So
I'm talking about like 100 basis points.
I want to
here.
take this time right here because you're just dropping some of your masterclass knowledge. So we're going to be doing a loan officer masterclass for people who are in the industry. If you want to learn what Sean Cahan is doing, the Mortgage Geek, president of Cornerstone Mortgage Group, what is he doing to do over $100 million in production every single year and to also run the bank? How's he doing it? What is he doing? These are the things we're going to discuss. Loan Officer Masterclass. It's 2 weeks from this Thursday, so it's on May 16th. There will be a link posted below if you're interested. You can RSVP to that. There's very limited seating in that, but it's going to be really cool. And those are the kind of tricks where it's like, that's a big difference maker. I mean, when a borrower has no idea.
Zero.
How any of that works. Not a clue that you could even do lender paid or that you could be like, hey, how can I save money here? Look, when rates go down, obviously it makes sense to look at refinancing, but it makes sense to look at it all the time. You know, is there a way for me to save money? Is there a new program? Is there a new lender paid trick that the Mortgage Geek has figured out where I can take my $500 or $600 a month in mortgage insurance and just decapitate that crap?
Yeah.
Just sloom.
Yeah.
And then save myself, because that's like me getting a $750 a month raise in the example we were using earlier. If I'm paying $500-$600, that's crazy. That's big money.
If your boss came to you and said, hey, I want to give you $750 raise today, no one will say no to it.
Everyone would be stoked.
Yeah.
Super stoked, because that's like a car payment. I mean, it's a big deal. And that's something that you can do. If you're in a mortgage insurance situation, I think you need to do mortgage checkups more often.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you, because we're the California, actually most states, you know, was it 6.6% appreciation growth or whatever?
Yeah.
And then the year before that was 6%. You guys, that was 12%. You've been in your home for now 2 years. You've already had 12% increase. So if you were in a 3.5% down FHA, you actually might be at 85% financing. And if you switch that over to a conventional product to 85%, your mortgage insurance falls off if you want to choose monthly MI. Or the single premium buyout is super cheap.
Super cheap.
So even if the rate's slightly higher, who cares?
Right.
You guys, look at more than just the note rate. If you only look at the note rate, you will lose. You will lose every single time.
They got you.
Unless 40% down, you have 40% equity, you're on a 15 or a 10-year mortgage, only look at the note rate and the cost. Because there's no what's called LLPAs, loan level pricing adjustments for your loan. Zero. You get the bottom. You are a prime candidate. and you're going to get pretty much the lowest of the rates that are being offered at that time because there's no risk factor.
And there's no variables to really try to calculate and maneuver around, whereas with most people, there are variables in there. They just don't know
Absolutely.
it. Just because you get a bill that just has a payment and it's just 6 digits on there, 7 digits, whatever, that's it. That's not the end of the game.
No.
The game begins when you get your loan, but it doesn't end. It doesn't end until you are in that category where you have no loan level pricing adjustments, you get perfect rates, you have perfect credit. At that point, yeah, it's just about no rate. But until then, there's a game to be played, and there's a lot of money on the table, and it's something where you can look at.
Thousands.
It's big money.
Yeah. We're not talking about like a couple $100. We're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that most people are literally just giving to banks.
Yeah, just handing it
Here
over.
you go.
Handing your money over. Stop handing your money over. Save that money. All right, let's get to a question here from John.
Right. Sounds good.
He says, hi, Derrick. I have a lien on my condo due to a dispute between the HOA and a painting company. The case is heading to court, but the HOA is sure it will be settled before that. The lien is still in place, but the HOA has bonded around it. I don't know what that means. Am I able to move forward with the refinance of my property?
So my first question would be, is it his painting company suing the HOA or his place liened, right? Let's just say that it's not. Let's just not say, or let's just say that it's not just his place, that it has to do with like the building, because typically, maybe a painting company is suing the HOA for like non-payment or something that happened.
Okay.
So Fannie Mae does allow the property to be in litigation, as long as it's not construction defect. So this is not construction defect. So if you have actually a letter from the insurance company that states like, hey, there's actually enough coverage to cover whatever the issues come about. So like if the HOA loses and they lose $100,000, but the insurance company is stating that they have enough premium or coverage to cover that, you can actually move forward with your refinance. And I would advise you to do it right now. It's a really, really good time to refinance. So that should not be an issue. Now, you can even go one step farther where we had a construction defect actually property come over, but it was like on common ground. We sent it over directly because we service for Fannie and Freddie. We sent it directly to Fannie Mae on a single basis by saying like, hey, I want an exception, right?
Like a one-time deal.
Yeah, one-time deal. And they said no. Then we sent it over to Freddie Mac and they said yes. So I'm like, okay, cool. Now we have a loan that really essentially in the guidelines says that you can't do, but Freddie Mac already marked it. So we're actually just going directly to Freddie. So
Boom.
it can happen.
Boom. That's what I'm talking about.
You
though.
just have to ask the right questions.
That's solutions, though. So when he says bonded around it, that sounds like a good thing. That sounds like they've got the insurance wrapped around this thing, and it should be good to go.
It sounds like per that email that he should, give me a call. I'll be more than happy to run through the numbers and see if it's beneficial to refinance. But I do not think that you should have any issues. I'll just send you an email of what to actually request from the insurance company.
There you go. And then it's done. And then you can refinance. Yeah, so don't let something like that hold you back. Like if you feel like, well, I can't refinance because I got this problem, or, I just changed jobs, or, whatever it might be. That's what the Mortgage Geek is here for. He knows how to geek his way around all this stuff. I mean, he went to Freddie Mac, he went to Fannie Mae. Mom said no, and Dad said yes.
Yeah, and then I was like, Dad said yes. Okay, sorry, Mom. I'm out.
I guess Dad gets this loan.
It's funny. We actually did a video. So go to mortgagegeek.com and click on more videos. The Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, where I dressed up as a woman as Fannie Mae, trying to get back to Mortgage Geek. I talked about the actual Fannie Mae allowing litigation. So go to that video. So most of my videos that I'm sending out have a lot of information in them as well. So not to try to promote, but I'm promoting.
Although you may get lost in the singlets, there is actual content inside of those videos, not just a bunch of guys dancing around wrestling outfits.
Strategic business partners.
Yes. So switching programs. Oh, and cash outs too. I mean, debt consolidations have been a big deal. I know that it made it a little bit more difficult on the VA side not too long ago to do cash outs.
Real difficult.
Kind of changed that game up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of people doing construction on the houses. I mean, it's one thing I notice when values are up, especially where I live over in Del Mar. I drive past all those houses. There's a lot of construction going on.
I think cash out refinances are amazing. especially like if you do have equity in your home. You know, there's a real big hit for like 80%. So try to stay at 75% loan to value and get your equity out up to there so that you're not getting completely smashed on the interest rate for just that extra 5%. But man, debt consolidation, I might have another conversation about that. Like if we're just paying off a credit card for you to go pay off another, to rack up those credit cards again, like that's not a solution.
Yeah.
Let's come up with an actual solution, but like a cash out refinance to enhance your property, to buy a boat, or not a boat, sorry.
How about build an ADU?
Build an ADU. So
My goodness.
Amazing.
What an opportunity.
Yeah, it's incredible. Enhance the property, expand it, get an ADU, something of that nature. I think that a cash out refinance is amazing. And definitely where the values are right now and where the interest rates are right now, you guys, the boat is back. We're at the dock waiting for people to jump on because, they dropped the interest rates and the values are still high.
Yeah, values are still high. Opportunities to do value adds in the property are there big time with ADUs.
Oh, yeah.
If you can increase square footage, I mean, one of the things that's really cool about San Diego is, especially if you own one of those homes that's like 1,300 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath, or 1,200 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath in Claremont or in North Park, one of these places where you're still paying $600,000 or $700,000, right, for this house. Imagine what you could do if you could add 400 square foot living room on the back of that thing or something like that. How much that increases the value of your home. If you can figure out how to do some stuff like that, like if you're interested in things like that, that's really, in my opinion, the best way to reinvest your equity back into the property so that you're going to get that and then some back when you sell it.
Absolutely. And I want to expand on that. I just did a class on 203Ks.
Oh, yeah.
A refinance 203K.
You can do a refi?
Yes, and it's 97.75%. So all you need is like 2.25% equity in your home.
Wait a minute. So let's say
you get to use the future value of 110%. So technically, once you buy, you had to put down 3.5%. You qualify because we get to use the new appraised value and go even 110% above what the appraiser says that the value of that home will be after construction. I'll still give you a loan. Oh yeah, and don't forget, I think 580 is the minimum FICO score. Not saying that you only want to shoot for like the lowest FICO score, but yeah.
No, you don't want to shoot for the lowest FICO score. Let's make that clear. That is not the idea. The idea is the opposite. But wait a minute, because this is a game changer. We have to do a whole segment about this. Because the 203K I thought was just a purchase loan. You're saying you can refine it, so you have a conventional, you have an FHA, you have a VA, whatever.
Yeah.
You can go in and say, I'm going to do an FHA 203K refinance.
Correct.
Which allows you to borrow money from the future value, the post-construction value of the home.
Yes.
To make the improvements to the property.
Yes. So
That's
cash out up to 80% conventional, 75% is where you want to be at. So you need more. Then I just recently did this. So 85 FHA allows 85%, right, of the LTV to be cash out. Okay, so you don't have that. Well, let's switch this thing to a 203K. You can do a 203K streamline, as I call it. And streamline allows you to get about $28,000 in hand, okay? It's $35,000 max. Or add on as much square footage as you want. Rebuild your house. I can do a loan amount up to $690,000 in San Diego County. Loan amount $690,000, or a duplex up to like 700 and something thousand, whatever those numbers are, and pull all the money out, put it into the property, and kind of build your home.
Yeah, and if you're doing an ADU or a second unit, it becomes a 2-unit.
So here's the thing about that. So home style will allow it to be detached, which home style is the construction piece to a conventional mortgage, right? But you do need a little bit more LTV in there, loan to value. Now, if you're doing a 203K, the second unit has to be attached.
Okay.
Attached. So it's fine.
So you
just
need
have to do that.
0 lot line on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. Man, this is some gold right here.
I mean, I think it's
gold.
I legitimately was like talking to Blair about it, and we got presented from another real estate agent saying, hey, we need to talk about 203Ks, and all of a sudden the light just went off. And I was like, oh my gosh, what a missed opportunity.
Yeah, what an
Missed
opportunity.
opportunity.
But
It's
so many
crazy.
people out there who want to do value adds to the property, who want to fix it up, who want to add square footage, but they don't have that kind of
Don't
cash.
have the means.
They don't have the equity necessarily because
Correct.
of the current state of the property. With the 203K using the future value, 110%.
110%. So, hey, you want property is going to be appraised at 700,000. Cool. I'll use 770,000.
That's nutty.
That's crazy. So pretty much, I'll just give you up to 690,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You want to add on 1,000 square feet, 1,500 square feet, 2,000 square feet. Do you want to scrape it down to the studs and start over?
And a lot of people
We're
right
in.
now, for people who don't know on those calculations, about $200 a square foot finished is about what you're going to get from a contractor right now. Now, if you run your own crews and stuff like that, you can get it cheaper.
Yeah, correct.
But if you're going to a GC and saying, "Hey, I want to add 1,000 square feet on," it's probably going to be $200,000.
Use $225 dollars a square foot for like safe, and then now on the 203K, if you are a GC and you want to do it, you cannot GC your own property.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they just don't allow it.
Okay, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. But obviously, you'll be able to manage it and watch, what's going on. Keep an eye
You
on
just want to
people.
make sure your stuff is done.
Correct. But you can't actually do it. That makes sense. So for a lot of people who want to expand, this is great for. There's some areas like, for example, or this could be a no-brainer. It just depends because the 690 thing, I'm not sure, but like, especially it seems to me like in like Old Poway. Like if you own a house in Old Poway, this is where those houses they're like 550, 575, but they're like 1,100 square foot 3.2s.
They're all. I owned one as well. So I had a 1,600 square foot one, but it was because the sunroom.
Yes.
So like they're
Build a sunroom.
I think they were like 1950s and 1960s.
Right.
Single level, 3-bedroom, 2 baths, 1,200 to 1,600 square feet if you got the sunroom or you don't have the sunroom on those like perfectly flat, awesome lots over there.
Yeah, or how about in like North Park where there's a whole bunch of like 2-1s that are 700 square feet, you know what I mean? But they're 550 or they're 525. They're really small. But some of them have decent sized lots. I mean, you can add 100, 150, 200 square feet on something like
Master bedroom, master bath, do all that kind of stuff, and now you're stoked.
You're
And
stoked.
remodel the interior of a house while you're doing it.
Yep. So you get to enjoy it more while you live there and
Yeah.
sell it for more when the day comes. Man, that's awesome. That's so cool. We didn't even know we were going to get to that today, but that's.
I
I didn't know you could refi the 203K. I didn't know it was an option. I just thought it was something that you could purchase a house that way, which a lot of people want to do, but it's difficult to do on the purchase side. If you can refinance it, my gosh, do whatever you need to do to get into it. Refi, do the 203K.
Yeah, so that's a great topic. If you do have like the 3.5% down, or if you want to go into a conventional mortgage or whatever, it's not necessary, but 3.5% down, close, because a lot of sellers or a lot of listing agents are saying, hey, we don't want to wait the 60 days or the 90 days or the 4 months or the 6 months, sometimes that it takes. And which is totally fine. So buy the property and then just do the refinance afterwards.
Exactly. As long as it's livable, you're
Yeah.
good.
Then there's like no time. Who
You're
cares?
covered. Dang, man. Crazy stuff. So mortgagegeek.com. There's also a Mortgage Geek hotline coming at you. We're not ready to launch that yet, but it's coming at you. Oh yeah, you're going to see videos about the Mortgage Geek hotline. Mortgage Geek Loan Officer Masterclass, also going to be on May 16th.
Yeah,
So
please come. That'd be cool.
if you're a loan officer, you want to learn how the Mortgage Geek does his thing, we're going to show you on the 16th of May. And also, if you have questions about refinancing, hit them up. MortgageGeek.com is the spot to get your mortgage questions answered. And of course, if you want to be a good lad, share this video with your friends. Make them smarter than everyone else. We'll see y'all next time.